Welcome back to the channel, and this is my definitive pre-draft ranking of the quarterback class. As everyone knows, it's been a very different year than last year when it comes to quarterback projection, but I still feel good about this class for what it is. And before we get into the video though, I'd like to remind you to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy, and let me know what you think of this ranking. It goes a long way and I appreciate you. So now let's talk about the format. I'm going to separate the players into tiers, and within the tier they are ranked in order. The gap within a tier is minimal compared to the gap between tiers, as I don't really have a problem with how you rank guys inside each tier. But without further ado, let's get into tier 1. I've labeled tier 1 potential stars. These are guys I think that within time can be solid franchise quarterbacks and potentially even top 10 caliber guys. First up in this tier, and my QB1, is Malik Willis. The Liberty standout stands at 6'1", 215, which is a little undersized for a quarterback, but as you probably have already heard, his potential is boundless. So the main strength of Willis and what kind of draws everyone to him is his arm strength and just his ability to make these highlight level, like ridiculous caliber throws, like things you see Patrick Mahomes do, but obviously Willis does it less consistently. But I mean, some of the things that he can do with the football in his hand are just ridiculous, and that comes in the run game too, because his mobility and his elusiveness, on design runs, on escaping pressure, anything like that. I mean, he's just super mobile, super explosive with the football in his hands, whether that's throwing or running. And his, some of his draws, his knocks rather, is he's inconsistent, very inconsistent, even against lower level competition. Like, he had some bad games against some, just all right teams this year. So he played at Liberty, not a ton of super high competition there, but he needs a ton of progression, and he probably is going to have to sit for at least a year. Could be a multi-year project. You could, the Lions are rumored to want to take him at 2, maybe. Could develop behind Goff for a year or two, get time to sit, kind of like Mahomes did, kind of like, Lamar did to some extent. But I see him as kind of the Trey Lance of this year's draft, because, Trey Lance is sitting for a year, maybe 2. I've heard rumors he's going to start this year, but I think he could be a similar player to all these guys I mentioned. I mean, he's got Mahomes' arm and Lamar elusiveness. I mean, not a little bit less of each, probably like a diet version of each, but I mean, still, he can do ridiculous things with the football, and I'm super excited to see what he can do if he goes to the right situation. And now next up in my tier 1 is my QB2, Desmond Ritter from Cincinnati. He's a do-it-all guy who might be the most pro-ready in my opinion, and given a solid supporting cast, I think he can have a great rookie season and more. Like, that means, rookie of the year conversation, maybe tops Herbert's record, which I know is a big praise, but I mean, that's if he goes to the right team. If he has, if he goes somewhere with a really good supporting cast, again, I think he can, be at least a really good game manager from day one, and obviously develop into a franchise guy. And the big thing for him, I think, is just the way he goes through his progressions, his accuracy, and he's just very, very pro ready. And I think he can take a team maybe to the playoffs if he has a good cast. I mean, if you put him, I know the Browns got D-Watt, but back when the Baker thing, if you put him with that Browns team before they got D-Watt in place of Baker, I feel pretty good about it, to be honest. And his arm talent is very solid. It's not Malik Willis, but it's still very good. His mobility and his athleticism are above average. He's, really an underrated athlete. And he struggles a little bit with accuracy and ball placement. I know I said it's a strength for the most part, but he has a little bit of issues there, and he doesn't have the same limitless potential that many of these top 5, top 10 guys have had in the last few years. Like, your Trey Lance, your Trevor Lawrence, your now Malik Willis. And I still think, and he's not going to go that high. I don't think he's going to go top 10, even though I think he's a very good player. But I think he's just really good. He doesn't have, he's not going to be Patrick Mahomes, but I think he can be a really good quarterback for years to come. And that wraps up tier 1, and now we are on to tier 2, which I labeled solid starters. First up in this tier is the Pittsburgh standout and ACC player of the year, Kenny Pickett. Like Ritter, I believe he's very pro-ready and can contribute from day one as a game manager at least. He's a solid arm talent, nothing spectacular, but still very good. And he has better than average athleticism and mobility, lesser than Ritter, and obviously lesser than Malik Willis, but still good. I mean, you saw that one, the fake slide play from the bowl game. I mean, I mean, he can move. He's got some wheels on him. And he had good tape and good numbers, good production against very good competition. The ACC is a little lower than most of the Power 5 conferences, but it's still, a really good conference, and he played a lot of good teams. He played Clemson. He played, a lot of good talent, and possibly, a lot of NFL players probably in the ACC. He didn't display insane potential. Again, he's like a lesser Desmond Ritter to me. Still they're not too far off, but he's not Malik Willis. He's not going to blow you away with this crazy arm talent and this potential, but he's a good quarterback, and he's a good player. And especially if this is a comparison that I really want to make, and I think he's kind of a discount Joe Burrow. He had the same jump up through his college career as he did. I don't think Pickett transferred in like Burrow did, but I think he plays a similar style. I don't think he's as good as Joe Burrow, but he put up good numbers against good competition, similar play style, and I think a similar kind of player. I mean, Joe Burrow has been very good in the NFL, and Kenny Pickett I don't think will be as good, but I think he can still be a solid starter for a team. And next up in QB in Tier 2 is our QB4 in this class, and it's someone who's probably a bit unexpected, and that's Nevada's Carson Strong. To me, Strong is extremely underrated and can be a quality NFL starter. His arm talent is great. I mean, that guy can throw a football like not many others in this class, and his frame is very good. He's got a great size for a quarterback, but his big problem is his mobility. But the big thing is, everybody likes to say that he just can't move. He's a statue. But he was injured in 2021, and from what I know, he was practically on one leg. So he makes all these crazy throws in this good tape on one leg, injured. Obviously, he can't move. He's, I don't remember if it was his knee, or I think it was his knee, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Let me know if you guys know down below. But he had a really good season and put up, he's projected to be a second, third round pick. He's on one leg and he's injured all year. If he comes back healthy, I think his mobility won't be a problem. I mean, he's not Kenny Pickett, he's not Desmond Ritter, he's especially not Malik Willis. He's probably going to be one of those more, traditional pro-style pocket passer quarterbacks. But I don't think it'll be any kind of problem. And if he bounces back from that injury and we can see what he can really do, I think Carson Strong could be a really good quarterback in the NFL. Now on to Tier 3, which is our last tier, and I've labeled it developmental potential. These are guys with a ton of athletic upside, but a lack of some intangibles and pro readiness. They can certainly develop into future NFL starters with the right situation and coaching, as that's what really comes down to quarterback success, if we're being honest. But at face value right now, they're not ready to take NFL snaps. First up in this tier is Ole Miss QB Matt Corral. He was a steady improver throughout his college career and has some pretty special athletic tools. I mean, his arm, his deep ball, he can really throw a football, but I'm just not sure how his reads and his progressions go. But his mobility and athleticism are also excellent. He's just, he's a really good physical specimen. The big draws against him are he's not shown much aptitude and progressions, but this is kind of a thing like how when Justin Herbert came out, is the offense did not showcase him well, and Justin Herbert was way better than that Oregon team made it out to be. Or it could be they ran the RPOs because that's all Corral can do. So that's a tough call if the system, because he really hasn't shown he can really read very well. But maybe that's on the system, maybe that's on him. We don't know, or at least I don't. Maybe teams do. And I think that RPO system just kind of puts him down a little bit. And lastly in this tier is a similar guy to Matt Corral, and that's Chapel Hill's own Sam Howell. Many call him a Baker Mayfield clone, and while there are a lot of similarities, I think Howell has a lot of progress to make before he becomes an NFL starter or, at Baker Mayfield caliber, which sounds like an insult now. Baker Mayfield is still a top 32 quarterback. He's not great, and he was kind of the worst piece on that Browns team, in terms of, value, but I still think, Sam Howell has, he's still a good quarterback. Sam, needs to develop to get there. He has a great deep ball and impressive arm strength. And it's pretty nice when you see it on tape, I gotta say, but he doesn't display a lot of consistency in accuracy and reads. And he ran, that similar RPO offense to Corral that just doesn't look great. Was it just the team and it was holding him back, or are they running that to account for he can't read the defense? I don't really know. And he's also undersized, but that's not a big fault because I personally don't really care about that. But that's going to be, done with our tier list. We're only doing the top 6 due to the major drop-off between them and the lower echelon guys. I would like to say that I'm a fan of Caleb Ellaby, though, but I didn't dive deep on his tape. I just hope he succeeds because he's fun, so he could be my QB7, I guess. But that's going to wrap it up for today. Let me know what you guys think of this video and this format. I actually got through this a lot faster than I thought. I'm going to try to get out more position rankings before this, the draft cycle is over. Obviously, I'm recording this with about a week to go until the draft, a little bit less. So, again, let me know what you think. Comment your thoughts down below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed, and let me know what position group I should do next. I'm trying to get out edge, but not sure if that's going to be, not sure if that's going to be the move. But let me know what you guys think of this, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.